Hey guys, today we're talking about Babysitting Mama, the wonderful Wii game where the roles are reversed and the babies change Mama's diapers. Babysitting Mama was a crib-rocking, spoon-feeding classic, a diaper dandy! Except for the fact that they never capitalized the... Yes, I have played this game. Well, why do they call it Babysitting Mama if you don't babysit Mama? Well, that's grossly misleading, stupid false advertisement. Fine, let's just go back to tennis. What's up gamers, welcome back to another episode of Video Game Gems. I'm Ginge the Ripper, let's play a game. The opening for Mario Tennis N64 is a little long, so I decided to use the opening from the Gameboy Color game instead, since I forgot to add it to my last video. For those of you who would still like to see the opening for Mario Tennis N64, I'll leave a link in the description. Mario Tennis for the N64 released a month after its Game Boy Color counterpart. This makes sense as the two were planned from the very beginning to communicate with each other. By playing one and transferring its data over to the other, you could unlock secret in-game content that you couldn't obtain otherwise. Last episode we covered what the N64 brought to the Game Boy Color. This time we're doing the reverse, but before we get into that, just what kind of game was Mario Tennis N64 on its own? At the time, Mario's character roster was a lot smaller than it is today. So much so that a new character had to be created, and others were pulled from spin-off games so a handful of characters could have doubles partners. Most of the playable characters make cameos in the Game Boy Color version of the game, but are unplayable. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, Wario, Donkey Kong, Bowser, and Toad were all obvious choices by this point. A good chunk of them were used in the mainstream games, while the rest had multiple appearances in various spin-off titles and/or series of their own. Yoshi ended up being paired with Birdo from Super Mario Bros. 2 because of their similar designs. At the time, Super Mario Bros. 2 was the only game Birdo appeared in. Birdo was an interesting choice because Super Mario Bros. 2 was a Mario'd remake of a game called Doki Doki Panic that released in America because Japan thought the original Mario Bros. 2 was too hard for the Western audience. Waluigi was created for the sole purpose of being Wario's partner. Waluigi was designed to oppose Wario. While Wario is short and fat, Waluigi is tall and skinny. Since Wario was Mario's rival, it only made sense for Waluigi to be a rival for Luigi. This was one of the reasons why he was named Waluigi, and to top things off, his symbol is an upside down L. Peach also needed a doubles partner. A Wario-esque counterpart was also considered for the princess, but was quickly shot down. They settled on Daisy, the damsel in distress from a handheld game called Super Mario Land, because she already had an established design. The rest of the partnerships are a little out of place. Toad was paired with Baby Mario, which was kind of a weird choice. Yoshi's Island had already come out a while back on Nintendo's previous console at the time, the SNES, so Baby Mario was already an established character, but partnering him up with Toad just didn't make any sense. If I had to guess, this was probably done because both characters are small. Bowser was paired with a Boo, because why not? The only underlings Bowser had at the time were the Koopalings, 7 small turtle dragons serving under Bowser. To me, it would have made more sense to include one of them as Bowser's partner, instead of his minions. Though it wasn't out of place for Nintendo to use the minions to fill out the character rosters in their spin-off games, but a little more variety could have gone a long way. Donkey Kong ended up being paired with a Paratroopa, an interesting choice since by this time, 3 Donkey Kong Country games had already been released with a wide variety of primate pals for the Great Ape. They had quite a few options to choose from. There were 2 other hidden characters you could unlock through tournament mode. Yes, a tournament mode was created in place of a story. You play through 3 cups, mushroom, flower, and star, that progressively get harder the further in you go. By completing your first singles tournament, you unlock Shy Guy and unlock his partner Donkey Kong Jr. after completing doubles. It would have made more sense to pair Donkey Kong Jr. with DK, but since he was a character that appeared in very few games, it made him a worthwhile unlockable. Shy Guy was in a similar boat. Like Birdo, the only game he had appeared in at the time was Super Mario Bros. 2, another worthwhile unlockable character. Once you've completed a tournament with a character, you unlock the star version of that character. Star characters are similar to their regular counterparts with greater stats, giving players a good reason to take each character through tournament mode. Each character also has their own unique victory scenes for winning tournaments, giving players another reason to play through tournament mode with all the characters. After completing the singles tournament with all 14 of the starting characters, you unlock the Star Tournament. In a Star Tournament, you play through 3 new cups, Rainbow, Moonlight, and Planet, against all of the Star characters. The number of sets you play in the tournament increases as you go along, making them longer than regular tournaments. If you manage to complete the regular and Star Tournaments with all 16 characters in both singles and doubles, you'll unlock an extra difficulty level to use in exhibition matches, but we'll get back to that later. Mario Tennis N64 has different modes you can play if you get tired of tournaments. Ring Shot is a mode where you rally a ball back and forth with another player or players while hitting it through as many rings as possible. There are 4 different ways to play this mode. In game mode, you play a single game of tennis while trying to hit the ball through a certain number of rings. If you don't hit the required amount of rings before the game is over, you lose. Time mode is similar to game mode, but now you have to meet the criteria in a certain time limit. You can drop the ball as many times as you want, as long as you complete the challenge before time runs out. In ball mode, you have to earn a certain amount of points without you or your opponent dropping the ball more than 4 times. And finally, points mode has you racking up points within a certain time limit. This differs from time mode in the way the rings work. They start out small and get bigger every time the ball is passed back and forth. The smaller the rings are, the more points you're awarded. Bowser Stage is a Bowser-themed court inspired by Mario Kart. You collect several items to attack or defend with as you play a round of tennis. Red shells will attack your opponent directly, disorienting them. Green shells are fired 3 at a time with the same effect. Bananas stick to the ball and are placed on the court wherever the ball lands. I'm not really sure what the mushroom does, but my guess is it either gives you an extra hit, speeds you up, or speeds up your shot. The lightning bolt stuns your opponent instantly for half a second, and the Starman weakens the blows you take from other items. The stage also tilts back and forth, and stationary characters will slide in the corresponding direction, giving players a reason to stay on the move. The final mode is the Piranha Challenge. 3 Piranha plants serve you 50 balls from the opposing side of the court. Your goal is to hit as many of them as you can back to the other side of the court without missing any, or without your opponent hitting them back over to your side. If you manage to hit all 50, you unlock a special Piranha Plant court to use in exhibition matches. There are many different courts that you can unlock. You unlock a DK themed court with a jungle setting by beating the Mushroom Cup with DK in singles. You unlock a Mario Bros themed pipe court by doing the same thing with Mario. You can unlock the similar Mario and Luigi court by beating the Star Cup with Mario in doubles. By beating the Star Cup with Wario in doubles, you unlock a Wario and Waluigi treasure-themed court. By beating the Mushroom Cup with Yoshi, you unlock a tropical Yoshi and Baby Mario-themed court. And finally, you can unlock a Yoshi and Birdo court by completing the Star Cup in doubles with Yoshi. Mario Tennis 64 also had a Special Games tab with 4 different selections of special games. The first 2 are tiebreaker games that end in 5 or 7 points. By winning a lobby in tennis, you're awarded 1 point, and when you reach the max number of points, you win the game. These 2 modes are pretty short, and you must play with 2 or 4 players. What makes these games interesting, though, is that 2 people can play as the same character, 1 per side, with one of the 2 players playing as the character with an alternative color palette. The third type of special games were the ring tournaments. By entering a certain code, you could play through different variations of the ring shot game through different cups Nintendo set up in advance. Your score could be saved via a code. That code could then be uploaded to MarioTennis.com for bragging rights, Nintendo's Mario Tennis 64 ranking system at the time. I don't know if the ring tournaments were used for anything other than showing off scores. But with tournaments like the Blockbuster, IGN, and Nintendo Power Cups, there may have been some promotional rewards, giving kids an incentive to compete. The final special game isn't a game at all, but a demo mode for the game. You choose 2 or 4 characters and a stage and watch them play a round of tennis. This mode was most likely created before Nintendo decided to start making demo versions of their games to advertise in stores. On its own, Mario Tennis for the N64 had a lot of content to keep players invested, but the fun doesn't stop there. By transferring your Game Boy Color content over to the N64, 4 additional characters are added to the game: Alex, Harry, Nina, and Kate, the 4 protagonists of the Game Boy Color game. Each of the characters have 2 color palettes. You can copy over 2 Game Boy Color files at a time. The first file gets added to the left side of the screen with the characters' canonical colors. Your second set of characters are sent to the right side of the screen with their alternative colors. This was done so if 2 sets of the same characters were sent to the N64, players wouldn't get confused as to who they were playing as. While this is a cool feature, there's no way to play as all 4 of the characters in their canon colors at the same time. Since you're allowed to name the Game Boy Color characters, instead of referring to them by their actual names, they are referred to as guest characters. This was actually a smart move. Calling the players guests makes the game feel more like a continuation of the Game Boy Color story instead of a standalone game. The GBC characters can play through both of the tournaments. Their achievements are saved and can be transferred back to the GBC game for players to show their friends, as well as all of the achievements from the other 16 characters. The GBC characters still gain experience while being used in Mario Tennis 64, which can be used to continue upgrading them. Their stats as well as their equipment from the GBC game get carried over to the N64, which is really cool. You gain experience a lot quicker in the N64 game than in the GBC game, and you're awarded a hefty amount of experience for completing cups and tournaments. Now imagine playing through those tournaments with the handicap equipment that doubles the amount of experience you earn, and you're walking away with over 2,500 experience each time you complete a tournament. That's insane! By completing all of the mini-games for certain characters in the Game Boy Color game, additional courts can be unlocked in the N64 game. A Mario court, a Peach court, a Yoshi court, a Wario court, a Waluigi court, and a Bowser court. Mario Tennis 64 shares a lot of the tracks from the Game Boy Color game to really sell the idea that the games were made to be played together. The 64 tracks were modernized for the Nintendo 64 and ditched the chiptune style music, and had a few original tracks of its own. So does Mario Tennis N64 have any flaws? There's only one that I can think of. Multiplayer games aren't split screen, and there isn't an option to change them to split screen. Players are forced to play with regular camera controls, so one team is always on the far side of the court. Like I said in my last video, I don't mind this feature. It's a fun way to play with friends, but a split screen would have given all players the option of a third-person view if they wanted to play that way. And that's the entirety of Mario Tennis 64. So, is it a gem? The game has enough content to keep it fresh, to be an entirely new experience over its Game Boy Color counterpart. Mario Tennis 64 doesn't have to piggyback off of the Game Boy Color game to be a solid title, but the fact that you could transfer over your GBA characters, the characters that you've worked so hard to level up and train, made the experience that much more enjoyable. So we can definitely say without a doubt that Mario Tennis N64 is a gem. Thank you all so much for watching, and keep on gaming.